Welcome to beautiful and sunny Long Island, New York, home to the phallic monument. Pumping some gas. I like this gas station. It's really close to my house. The pumps are usually working. And hey, if you spend over $20 and you go inside and you yell "Death to America," you get a free 12-ounce coffee. It's awesome. Now, somewhere up here, if memory serves me right, there is a big bump that seriously, that the last time I was here, my testicles hit me in the face. And honestly, I really don't like when that happens. But yeah, no, it was a really like, oh God, it was like just jarring. That's so cool. I got my tech mount, I got a compass. I feel like a little Boy Scout. Maybe I should tie some knot. Nah, the last time I tied knots, someone called the cops, and it was a mess. It was a mess. It cost me about 10 grand, but you know, it was a big misunderstanding. Anyway, I was thinking about my dad a lot lately, and he was a really cool guy. He passed in 2009 from cancer, but what an awesome guy. He really was. And I was just thinking, because one of my neighbors, their kid's going for their road test, and I was just thinking, my dad taught me how to drive, and he was really awesome about it. He took me out, and he would always like, oh, do you want to go out you want to learn how to drive, you want to go for a ride? I'm like, the answer to that question, Dad, is always going to be yes. So over the course of a couple months, he taught me how to drive, signed up for my road test, and I remember I got there and I took it a place out in Lindenhurst called Fireman's Park, if you're familiar with Long Island. And you know, you hear all the rumors from people like, oh, you don't want to get the older black lady, or oh, you don't want to get the tall skinny white guy, or you definitely don't want the old lady with the chain on her glasses. You hear all these stories about who the worst test giver or test proctor is. So I showed up, and I had a tall, thin black lady with chains on her glasses. So I pretty much had the combination of everything. So get in the car. She's really, really nice. We're driving along. I'm doing the test. Great. Turn here. Okay. Turn here. Great. You know, do a K-turn. Okay. Okay, let's parallel park. And I was a good parallel parker, but out in Suffolk County, that's where Lindenhurst is. I live in Nassau County. Out in Suffolk County, there's not many curbs. So you have the asphalt and then grass. There's no curb. So I'm going to parallel park, and I guess I was cutting it too much, and she reaches over, grabs the wheel, goes, oh, no, sweetheart, too much, and she feeds the wheel back. And I was like, oh, man. Because I know from reading the books and hearing from people that if the test proctor or the test giver, I forget what you call them, touches the wheel, it's an automatic fail. So I was like, oh, crap, I just failed my road test. But oddly enough, the minute that she grabbed the wheel and I thought I failed, I started driving like a champ. I was really relaxed, everything was cool. So we get back to the testing area, and my dad's waiting for me, and get out of the car, and she's you know, writing on her clipboard and all that, and she's tearing papers away. And you know, I'm kind of bummed, but I'm thinking to myself, the first question I'm going to ask is, you know, well, how long do I have to wait before I can take another road test? And she hands me a piece of paper, and she goes, all right, Rob, congratulations, this is your temporary license, your photo license is going to come in the mail in 45 days, and blah, 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 blah. You passed me? And she's like, yes, I did. And I'm like, but you grabbed the wheel. She's like, oh, come on. She goes, just a little bit. You were just messing up the parking a little bit, but you're a good driver. You deserve to drive. So I gave her a hug. She wished me well, and we went on our way. So whatever anyone wants to say about people who give, you know, road tests, they're okay in my book, because that lady was awesome. I passed my road test in November, and I was 16. And I had to wait until I was 17, until March. Man, that was a long winter. But I remember after I passed my road test, a couple of days later, my dad came in my room, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. He's like, what do you got going on tonight? I'm like, nothing. Why? What, do you want to do something? He's like, yeah, you want to go for another driving lesson? And I was like, like, I already passed my road test. He's like, yeah, I know. And he walked away. Well, that night, for about maybe 5 or 6 times, my dad took me out, and he said to me, he goes, all right, he goes, you know how to drive, you passed your road test. He goes, now I'm going to teach you how to drive like a cop. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. So in a big parking lot at, like, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, my dad taught me how to drive like a cop. I mean, the whole, you know, in reverse as fast as you can, then cut the wheel and do a 180 and keep going. And oh my God, it was so much fun. He taught me everything that he knew about driving when he was a cop. He taught me, and it was absolutely awesome. But fast forward now a couple of years, and I wanted to get a motorcycle license. Now, I've been riding motorcycles on and off since, you know, I mean, it's really from when I was 19. That's when I was licensed and actually owned it. But I've been on motorcycles since I was 14 here and there, just, you know, on friends' bikes or whatever. And he kind of surmised that, but, you know, I played along. So he said, you know, all right, if you're gonna ride, you're gonna take this seriously. I'm gonna teach you how to ride, because you know, he wasn't a motor cop, but he rode motorcycles sometimes in the police department, because he was an auto crime. So sometimes they would recover stolen motorcycles, and my dad was the guy to ride them back. So we bought a 1984, I think it was, or 83 Yamaha Virago. And oh good, there's people at the light, I can go straight. And get in the parking lot, and he's like, all right, listen, you gotta do this with the clutch, you gotta do that with it. And I'm just like half listening, because I already know. And as he's talking, I just let the clutch out and I just take off. And I'm doing tight turns, and I'm scraping the pegs and all that. And I come back, and he's just like, you already know how to ride? And I'm like, yeah, you kind of knew that. He's like, yeah, don't tell your mother. Everything, whenever I did something wrong, it was always, don't tell your mother. So for a couple of months, my dad's teaching me and all that kind of stuff. I'm humoring him, you know, I mean, because he really wanted to show me the right way, and I listened to him. He's my dad. So we go to the road test, and the road test for the motorcycle was at this place called the Freeport Docks in Freeport. That's in Nassau County here by me. And it's like an old abandoned strip, and they give the motorcycle road test. I don't know if they do it anymore, but back then they did. I was 19 at the time, so I'm 44 now. You guys do the math. 1992, I want to say. So I go there, and lady's waiting, and she's got the clipboard and all that. And okay, do your tight turn. Okay, great. All right, the other way. Okay, great. Now it came time for the figure 8, and I don't know, the bike wasn't sounding right, the bike wasn't feeling right, and it just, I don't know, it just started to shudder. And when I was in the middle of doing the figure 8, it just shut off. The one cylinder just shut down on me, and then the other cylinder shut off, and the back wheel locked, and I went down. I wasn't going fast, thankfully, but I fell off a bike during my road test. That's never good. So I get back up, and I'm like, son of a bitch. And the lady was like, calm down, try to get your bike started again, or whatever. And I got started again. She goes, all right, if you just want to run it out, make sure everything's all right, go right ahead. So I'm going up and down the strip. There's cops there and everything, and I'm doing like 70, 80 miles an hour up and down this long strip. And I guess they saw the look on my face. They were just like, leave the kid alone. Poor bastard just fell off his bike during his road test, of all things. So I get back up. Bike seems to be working fine. Fast forward to that, it was the CDI box, which I guess controls fuel output and the firing of the cylinders. So the CDI box went, and me and my father found out, and later on we fixed a couple weeks later. But so I get back up, I'm doing the figure 8 again. She's like, okay, great. She goes, I'm going to get in the car with your dad, and we're going to follow you. She goes, I want you to go down to that light. She points down the road, and I want you to make a left turn. I want you to go all the way back up in the shopping center. She was explaining to me where to go. Okay, fair enough. So take off on the bike. Light turns yellow. I gun it. Hang a nice sharp left turn. Blow right through a red light. Her and my father are stuck at the light. So I'm like, oh man, I just ran a red light on my friggin' road test. So I pull over at the shopping center she told me about maybe like 3 minutes later, her and my father come pulling up, and they pull up next to me, and she rolls down the window and she's like, please return to the testing area. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And just the look on my father's face, he's just kind of shaking his head like, what's wrong with you? So to make a long story endless, I get back to the testing area, and you know, I'm leaning against the bike, and you know, my dad's by the car, and she's just writing on her clipboard and writing, not saying anything, and she starts ripping the papers off and hands them to me. She's like, all right, Rob, this is your temporary license. In 45 days your new license is going to come in the mail with the motorcycle designation and blah blah blah. And I'm like, just mouth open, just staring at her, and she's like, any questions? I'm like, you passed me? And she's like, she just chuckled, she goes, yeah, I did. And I'm like, I fell off the motorcycle, how could you pass me? And she said, she goes, honey, I have never seen anyone drop a motorcycle and get up and do the test perfectly after that. She goes, you deserve to ride. I was like, thank you so much. And we shook hands. I go walking back over to my dad. He didn't know what was going on, and you know, he was all like dejected and kind of just, you know, he felt really bad, and he was like, look, don't worry about it. He goes, we're gonna get the bike home, we're gonna tear it apart, we're gonna find out what it is. Later on we found out it was the CDI box, and he's like, don't worry about it, we're gonna fix this and all, and we'll take you for another road test. And I just held up the paperwork, and I'm like, I passed. And he's like, what? And I'm like, she passed me. He's like, you have no business being on a motorcycle, you're a maniac. He goes, oh, you blew the red light, you're going too fast. So he went from like concerned father to like cop in like 2 seconds, where he was just like berating me. And it took a long time for him to kind of trust me, you know, behind the handlebars. But he knew I was a good rider, and you know, that trust came pretty quickly. So yeah, my dad was an awesome guy. He taught me a lot about a lot of things. But yeah, I'll never forget those two road tests with him. Was really awesome. All right, so I'm just about home here, so I just want to thank you guys so much for stopping by again. Please hit the like button if you saw. Holy shit, yeah, you're not supposed to do something like that, but anyway, please hit the like button. And if you found something that you like, please share it with your friends. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and go ahead and please hit the little bell icon that's next to the subscription, just so you could be notified from any new nonsense that I put out, and you guys could check it out. I really appreciate you stopping by, and I hope you guys have a great day.